My name is James Strauss. I'm one of the guidance counselors at Port Charlotte High School. Today I will be giving you some information on the dual enrollment process through Florida Southwestern for those students that are aspiring to be dual enrollment students. The purpose of this presentation is just to neatly lay out the dual enrollment process in effort to assist our aspiring students to dual enroll at FSW. There's definitely a lot of information, but I've tried my very best to break it down as neatly as possible for understanding. So first things first, what is dual enrollment? Dual enrollment is a program open to all eligible students. Dual enrollment is essentially the commitment of taking one or more classes through FSW while maintaining their primary enrollment at Port Charlotte High School. There's two ways of going about this. Of course, you can do full-time status or early admissions. This would be where you take a minimum of 4 classes or 12 credits at the college level, of course, where there's no further required scheduling at Port Charlotte High School. You are taking a full-on, full-time status schedule at FSW. Part-time status would be essentially in the name where you are taking less than 4 classes, so you might just take 1 class or 2, couple classes, and that would require additional scheduling at Port Charlotte High School. Again, you have to remain full-time status, and so if you are not taking at minimum 4 classes through Florida Southwestern or FSW, you will then need to have further scheduling at the high school. Those schedules can be very unique, so that will be on a case-by-case basis. However, the part-time status generally will have some additional scheduling at Port Charlotte High School. In addition to dual enrollment, yes, these are real college classes for real college credit. So if you are taking even just 1 class through Florida Southwestern, that will transfer to an in-state school. Depending on what the class is, if you transfer out of state, I don't know how that will exactly be evaluated. However, these are real college credits. The application to apply for to be a dual enrollment student is hyperlinked here on this page. Typically, the deadline for the fall is in July. Course availability should always be considered regardless of the semester. So if you decide you want to start a semester 2 and you go to apply in September for semester 2 or in October, you should always be aware of the availability that the courses that you need are being offered. Academic differences. So obviously, in this day and age, there's a lot of different routes you can take, especially for the college aspiring student. Dual enrollment coursework, or college coursework, I should say, and AP and AICE coursework are very similar, as you'll see, but there are a few differences. So I'm going to go through each kind of in a row because they're very similar, and then down towards the bottom is where it deviates some. So dual enrollment is obviously a college, those are college classes. Those are true, those are through Florida Southwestern. AP and AICE coursework are college level classes that are taught at the high school level. They're both weighted on a 5.0 scale, so you're going to get that GPA benefit of that. For dual enrollment, you'll see that students can earn college credits and a high school credit as well with a passing grade. And then for the AP and AICE courses, you'll see that, that you'll earn college credit with an exam score of a 3 or higher for most colleges and universities. Depending on the college or university, sometimes I've seen them, you have to have a score of a 4 or 5, but those deviate some. Generally though, you're looking at a 3 or higher to earn such credit. A grade for dual enrollment is a grade of a C or better is needed to progress in subject levels, meaning if you take ENC 1101 as say an 11th grader in the first semester and you get a C, you can move on to ENC 1102. In the event you get a D or an F, obviously you cannot progress through that until after you graduate high school, and then you can then retake ENC 1101 on your own time before progressing. The big thing for AICE and AP is AP capstone and AICE diplomas are obtainable, and if you start early enough in dual enrollment as say a 9th, 10th, or 11th grader, etc., you can earn your AA or your associate's degree, which is obtainable. Both programs, for either the test or for the courses taught through FSW, there's no cost to the student. So with AP and AICE, you'll have your exams at the end of the year, which on average are about $100, or all of your course, your tuition fees, textbook fees, etc. There's no cost to the student at the dual enrollment level either. So that is awesome for you guys. And then the one big thing with dual enrollment coursework is that this does open up your college GPA and your college transcript. So taking an AICE or an AP course, those courses remain on your high school transcript. Obviously, if you go to transfer to a school, any exams that you passed may turn into college credit. However, those classes are remaining on your high school transcript, yet to open up the college transcript. Taking dual enrollment or college coursework, this opens up your real permanent college transcript. So any grades that you get, those are permanent. There's no credit retrieval. You can't fix that. Those are on there for college. And so if you were to withdraw, those W's may be added for late drops. The big question here, I'm going to stay solely on dual enrollment, but for the sake of it, no single pathway is best. And so what I mean by that is each student has their own idea of how they want to earn their education. And so some students are very keen on dual enrollment, some students want to go the AP route, some students want to go the AICE route, and then of course some students, they just want to graduate high school. And so the goal in school is to meet your needs, obviously finish, but in this case where you're talking about high-level coursework, you know, no single pathway is best. It's what you are desiring. So at the start of this process, every student that is aspiring to dual enroll will have to fill out and complete with their parents or guardians the dual enrollment contract. This is typed out just as a firm understanding of, you know, what the expectations are and just the overall understanding, essentially what I'll be going over today, and of course that you've watched this video. So the parent guardian will have to sign as well as the student. And so hard copies of this will be made for any student that wishes to dual enroll in one or more classes from today on. General requirements. So grades 9 and 10. If a student wishes to dual enroll in grades 9 or 10, you will need at least 5 credits in core subjects. So that would be your English, math, science, social studies, a minimum of a 3.5 unweighted GPA, limited to 9 credits. So in grades 9 and 10, you cannot go as a full-time student. You have to remain as part-time. Eligible test scores, which we'll get into here in a minute. And you must also maintain a 3.5 high school GPA and then a minimum of a 2.0 college GPA. So again, you're opening up that college transcript, and that GPA essentially now begins. So you have to hold on to that minimum 2.0 GPA. Grades 11 and 12, this is generally where students begin their dual enrollment journey, whether again, it be 1 or 2 classes or 4 full-time, you name it. You will have to maintain, to become eligible, you will have to have a 3.0 unweighted GPA. So again, instead of the 3.5 at the younger grade levels, now it drops to a 3.0 unweighted GPA, which is still very good. You'll have access to both part-time and full-time status, so you can either take 1 class or you can take 4 or 5, however many. Eligible test scores still exist if you are entering. And then for this, you must maintain your 3.0 high school GPA, and again, that 2.0 college GPA. As I alluded to before, the eligible test scores. This is a very good breakdown given by FSW. So you'll see here, you'll see PERT scores, which aren't really used too much anymore. But the big placement test that FSW uses is now called the AICE placer. And so you'll see the minimum to start, say your ENC 1101 courses would be a 245 in the reading and writing sections, and then for math, somewhere between a 242 and a 263. If by chance you have ACT and SAT scores that you've already taken and you've knocked it out of the park and you've done very well, you could send those scores to FSW and then you bypass all of the placement testing because now you've already had those scores. I'm going to give you an example at the end of this PowerPoint of how to register for the placement test if need be. That we'll be tuning into in just a moment. However, keys to dual enrollment success. So these are just a couple things that over the years we've found that are just very important when it comes to this because, again, you're opening up a new chapter of your life before you're graduating high school. And so what you do now will matter. And so the first thing is academic discipline. Students have to, and this kind of goes in with responsibility and accountability too, students have to hold themselves accountable. Studying, asking for help when needed, turning things in on time, making your class times, etc. Those are things that ultimately matter when it comes to if a student is successful or not in dual enrollment, as well as time management. Again, back to studying, making sure you're meeting deadlines as far as when to register, when to pick up your textbooks. These things will take part in your success in dual enrollment. And down here at the bottom, students are ultimately responsible for successfully completing dual enrollment related tasks. We're going to get into this more a little bit later, but just so that it's clear that you are now entering the world of a college student, and so these are things that you're going to have to learn and ultimately complete successfully for yourself. Transferable AICE and AP credits. So as I alluded to before, a lot of students will begin this dual enrollment journey at the 11th grade year. That's the most common. And so at that time, these students are also gathering AICE and AP credits along the way. And so even just because the class is taken and we might be able to see your scores in programs such as Focus, FSW doesn't see that. They need to see the official copies. And so with that said, the student must request to transfer his or her passing exam scores from either the AICE and or College Board programs for college credit evaluation. So FSW will want to see those official transcripts from either Cambridge or College Board, which is AP. And so you'll have to log into either of those accounts to send those records. This is something that takes a lot of time sometimes. It could take up to several weeks, maybe even a month or two. And so it is important to jump on this early because what you want to try to avoid is having to take a class twice, essentially. So, for example, if you've taken AP statistics, that transfers over as STA 2023 or college statistics. You don't want to have to take that again because you didn't submit your AP exam or your AP exam that you passed in high school. And something to note on that as well is you cannot register for a course without meeting the prerequisites. So if you've taken, say, AICE language or AP composition and you've met the score for that at the AICE or AP level to transfer to earn ENC 1101, we cannot put you in ENC 1102 until that ENC 1101 is met. And so for AICE credits, send AICE scores at this hyperlink here. You will have to enter in your center number, which is UX494. That is our center number for Port Charlotte High School. And if you need your candidate number, you can see Ms. McIntosh in the CIC, and she'll be able to provide that for you. AP credits, You could always see me if you need assistance. And additionally, though, that is how you will send your AP scores, by going to the College Board account at collegeboard.org. You'll log into your account, very easy, send scores, and then I will also show you how to access that FSW number so that you know where to send those scores to. Communication is key when it comes to dual enrollment. Upon applying and receiving an ID number, which some of you may have, students will also receive an FSW email address. And so this is your email address that's specific to FSW. All students are expected to monitor this email for obvious reasons, not only for registration dates and stuff like that, but just for things and events that are going on campus that that you need to know. And this is for not only for right now, but this is for moving forward as you advance through college, through your years, however many years you go. The things that are sent to you via email are very important at times, and so it's important for you to monitor that. Students registered in FSW coursework will be put into an email group, and these students will receive important dual enrollment information as it's released. So I create a dual enrollment group by year. So again, I might have 10 kids in there, 12 kids in there. However, as I receive information on dual enrollment, such as deadlines or textbook date pickups, I send that out to you guys. And so it is very important for you guys to check this, because you don't want to face the consequences of not meeting a deadline or not picking up your textbooks on time, and now you're a week behind in your courses. It becomes very ugly. We don't want to see that happen to you. I also take personal emails. However, everyone's FSW email will be put in, so you would then be receiving it through your FSW email account and your personal email as well. Either way, both emails should always be regularly monitored. And the big thing on communication is sometimes issues arise or questions may be had that we cannot answer. Port Charlotte High School, myself, will always be willing to assist students in this dual enrollment process or journey. However, FERPA becomes a big thing, and the laws of that will severely limit Port Charlotte High School or staff members to intervene at the college level for the student. Students are going to always assume responsibility for concerns related to FSW, and so those things that will need to be handled by the student. Going into registration, there's going to be some things called adding and dropping. And so obviously, say you're a full-time student and you register for 5 classes, realize the workload might be a little bit too much, so within the add and drop period you decide to drop a course. Now you're down to 4. You could still maintain your full-time status. If you only register for 4 classes and you drop one, now you become part-time status. You become part of the part-time status. But you could always add one as well. This should be used sparingly, and so students that register for courses are expected to commit to such courses. Like I said, in the event these courses may need to be added or dropped, that action must be completed by FSW's deadline. These are hard deadlines, and to avoid academic penalty, the common schedule changes that might happen at the high school that can occur a couple weeks after the start of the school year, over the summer, things like that, these cannot simply occur at any time at the college level. So this is something to very much take home with you guys. Very, very brief example registration calendar is off to the right. So there's 2 main registration openings at the start or during each year. That's obviously at the beginning, towards the middle end-ish of semester 1, and then likewise in semester 2. So right now, where we're currently at, we're getting to register for the fall semester of next year, and also the summer of after the end of this school year. So an example would be for March 30th, 2023, and these are dictated by credit hours. Students are now able to register for next year's or the next semester's courses. Likewise, once we're in the fall semester, again, this will happen in October for the spring semester. Registration remains open for the remainder of the semester 1 or 2 on our time. However, at the start of winter and or summer breaks, these deadlines for Port Charlotte High School end because of summer break. Staff's not on campus, and so they will open again once staff returns, generally for that week or so, once your courses will begin. So for example, if your first day in the fall semester is August 20th of 2023, again, these are random dates, the last day to add or drop is typically about a week or so after. So the last day to add or drop a course will be August 28th, 2023. So that doesn't give you a lot of time to figure out what your course load is like, etc. But but those are the hard deadlines to avoid penalty. Likewise, in the spring semester, if your first day of class is on January 10th, the last day to add or drop might be on the 17th, might be on the 20th. These dates change regularly or by year, so this is just an example. But the turnaround is very, very quick. And the process of adding and dropping a course, which we're going to get into here in a little bit, takes time as well. And for approval for that takes time as well. It is not an overnight thing. The general pathway to dual enrollment, this is just a very step-by-step breakdown of what it looks like from top to bottom. Obviously, first thing you're doing is applying to FSW. Upon doing so, you'll be receiving an FSW ID number. It typically takes about a week or so, just from the experience. And then once you receive your ID number, you will then want to start thinking about placement tests. And so as long as no ACT or SAT scores exist, if so, you can send those, which I will share with you in a minute. But if you need to take the placement test, you will need to register through FSW's testing services, which again, I will be showing you here in a minute. Items 4, 5, and 6, I know down here at the bottom of the screen with the asterisks, it's 3, 4, and 5. That's my mistake, I'm sorry. But items 4, 5, and 6 are things that you should be doing every semester. So obviously you're going to want to meet with your grade level counselor to discuss these course options for each semester, because at the end of the day you still need to graduate high school, and so otherwise this is all for naught. And so you need to make sure that all of your high school graduation requirements are being met through the FSW courses you're taking, as well as some electives you might take, etc. And then of course you're open to register now. Our deadlines may differ to FSW's strictly because summer breaks and winter breaks, staff is not here, and so there's going to be no one to really assist you to register. And so there's still going to be plenty of time in between, and then at the start of the school year to make any add or drops, etc. However, these must be considered. My email address here is going to be the ones that you use as person 2 on your registration sheet towards the end, which you'll be seeing that here as well here in a minute. You will always use my email address. And then item 6, picking up textbooks. Times and conditions will always be communicated with you. This is all the more reason to check your email regularly, but you will want to pick up and or drop off your textbooks from the previous semester or pick up your new ones. And with that being said, we are going to take us over to the FSW site. So we're going to start here at Google, fsw.edu. We're going to enter Florida Southwestern's page, and here we are at the home page. And so the first thing we're going to look at are test scores and test placements, appointments to make. And so for that, you're going to go up to current students. Now this is the way I do it, and this is the way I show the students how. If you happen to find a way that's a little bit easier, please let me know, because I am all about efficiency. So once you click on current students, you're going to drop down about a third of the way down to assessment and testing. If in the event you have an ACT or an SAT score that you can use that will qualify you for dual enrollment, you can click on how to submit test scores. For SAT here, for ACT here, you'll have the codes that are in line for FSW so that you are sending them to the right school. However, if you need to do the placement test, you will run back over here to placement test registration. You will then see this purple box down here, register for an on-campus placement test appointment. And then because we are at Port Charlotte High School, I can only assume that the Charlotte campus is closest, so we will want to see their appointments. Now, I will only be able to go so far in this because I don't want to send any fake accounts over to FSW, and so I'm only going to be able to take us to the first 2 slides of this. However, there's only a few slides after that, and that basically is going to consist of when you want to schedule your appointment. And so our student name here is going to be Joe with the last name Smith, and his cell phone number is going to be, let's do 222-222-222-2222. All right. And then you'll hit next down here at the bottom. So this is going to be you, of course. This is just an example student. Joe will then enter in his FSW ID number that will always start with @ and we'll do, say that is his FSW ID number with an email address. So you're going to use your FSW email address at bucks.fsw.edu, and then type. Of course, you're going to do placement testing. Now, I won't be able to continue from this point forward because, again, I don't want to set off any fake registrations. However, upon hitting next, you will then schedule your time, any dates and times available to take your placement test. And then upon submitting it, after the 3rd page, you will then you will then receive a text message with a confirmation, date and time and code for your exam. There is a very good chance you might have to miss some school time, so just make sure that you are having an excused absence, have a parent call in, or at least let me know what you're doing, and then I could work with our attendance staff to make sure that you're excused for that day. Of course, you're going to want to make up any work that you missed in class, which I'm sure you will, but I just want to make sure that you sit for the best placements or appointment time possible. All right. So now we are going to go back to FSW's home page. And now we're ready to register. So you take your placement test, you receive your scores spot end. I encourage you to come see me with those placement scores right away. And now we're ready to register. So you meet with your grade level counselor, may very well be me, and we discuss some of the classes that you wish to take. And so for time purposes and just for easy understanding, we're going to look at one class. However, depending on if you're part-time or full-time, you will have to obviously select and consider the amount of classes that you will need to be considered for either. But for this case, we are going to say that Joe Smith will be taking ENC 1101. And so he wants to take Composition 1 Writing. At Florida Southwestern's homepage, we're going to go to Current Students. We are going to scroll down. And again, we are going to now look at Schedule Searches. So you're going to click on the Schedule Search. And so now here, you're going to see the filters on the left side here. And these are going to be a lot of different things that you can select. However, we're going to look for just what we need. And so, obviously, we are going to be doing the fall of 23, any term. Attendance options, if you want to make sure it's an on-campus class or a hybrid or an online course, that's fine. Delivery method, typically you're going to be looking at either online or traditional. Blended online, live flex, these are all options as well. Meeting days, if there's a specific meeting day that you need to meet. Should generally look at Charlotte campus if you're looking to go to campus and have an in-person class meeting. However, if the online sections are universal to all. And so we are going to search ENC English composition. Course number is 1101. Honors, typically you'll want to do no because you don't want to submit something accidentally. If you want to select yes, you will then have to get approval. There's a few steps involved in that, which that will be done on a case-by-case basis. And then a cool little tool that I found down here is to hide courses without seats available. So you're not looking through courses that are filled because obviously you can't get into those anyway. And so of course though, with whatever subject or the class and the course number that you are entering, you will have to enter here the subject and the course number. Again, ENC 1101 is just a very common one that we're using for example. We will search. And voila, there's going to be a lot because registration hasn't officially opened yet. So you're going to see every single section of ENC 1101 that schools are offering. And so for this sake, let's say Charlotte, we're gonna make a filter and add in Charlotte just to break some of these down. All right. And so here it is. So now we've narrowed it down to Charlotte. And so FSW online, so we're going to assume that this student wants to take a class online. A couple things to note. Obviously, you are going to want the subject and course code, which is ENC 1101. Other tidbits of information that you will need for registration will be the CRN number. Now, the key with the CRN number is for the registration sheet, you are going to need two of those. You're going to need your primary, which is the one you are looking at, and then an alternative in the event your primary doesn't work. And so if you are keen on sticking online, you will want to scroll down here and find another ENC 1101 Composition 1 that's scheduled to be online. The CRNs will always be a little bit different because they're different, they are sectioned out differently. But here we are, three rows down, you'll see another online. So we know that there's two available. So the first CRN is 13873, that is the primary you want to do. You're going to drop back down here. The other composition, the CRN is 14286. Okay. It is not honors. You're also going to want to find, you're going to go back up to the primary one, and you're going to want to find the section number. So for CRN 13873, the section number is 814. And you won't need to find the section number for the alternative. And again, this is just an example for two online classes. If you're looking for a traditional delivery method, you can enter that. A backup or the alternative might be an online CRN. That's fine too. Generally, you are just looking to find whatever is available. And so traditional and traditional class sections and online class sections are the most straightforward. You are either in person all the time or you are either online all the time. Blended would be a hybrid of both. And so we have all of the information that we are going to need. Okay? So this is the schedule search, and so this is how you build your schedule. If you are looking at the delivery method and you are wanting to take all of your classes in a traditional setting, meeting times are important. You can't have any overlapping. So if you are taking multiple courses and ENC 1101 is offered Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 11:20, you can't have a class that starts at 11 a.m. because that would conflict with this time, unless the days are different. So it is my suggestion to write these out. Whatever works that's available, see the available seats. If something is working out, write it all out and have a list of what course options are available based on the days and times. Cool thing is with online courses, those can be, and those fit any schedule. So it doesn't matter if 3 of your classes are Tuesdays and Thursdays at different times. The FSW online class is flexible with any course, any day, any time. Okay? And so we're just going to do one class for the sake of this. And so once we do our schedule search, which should be done in advance prior to your actual registration day, we did the schedule search, and so now we are going to go back to the home page, and now we are going to actually complete the registration form. We're going to go to quick links again, down to dual enrollment. I'm going to click on student links and resources. And you will see here the orientation that you'll have to select and click on. This is the Accelerated Pathways orientation. This essentially just gets you ready for dual enrollment. And so you should do this before you register. You will have to check off on that here in a minute. But to register for courses, Adobe Sign for summer registration, all campuses are here. So if you are looking to take a class over the summer, you will select all campuses for the summer registration. However, for this sake, we are going to do a fall of 2023 Charlotte campus, because again, that's where we're closest to registration. Now it's going to take you to your Adobe Sign form. You are going to scroll down to open the form, click continue, and here we are. So we're going to have to fill all of this in. And now Joe is our made-up student. We are going to do at our 8-digit FSW ID number, of course, starting with at. Last name is Smith. First name is Joe. Joe attends Port Charlotte High School. He is in Charlotte County. Joe's date of birth will be the 8th of March in year 1985. Hopefully he's not in high school that long. In the current high school enrollment year, this is something to pay attention to. So if we're registering for the fall of 2023, we are currently in the spring of 2023. That's something to pay very close attention to. So you're a current junior right now, and you're registering for next year. You are going to be a senior. Term of enrollment will be fall of 2023. All right? And then the orientation course, of course, we're going to sign off that we have watched that. Again, for the sake of time, I wanted to bypass that for you guys, as you can do that. We'll sign off there. And that you understand by signing this form, I am adhering to the student contract located on the second page of this form, which we'll see here in a minute, including registration, drops, and withdrawal policies for FSW dual enrollment students, which is essentially what I've gone over the first half of this presentation. So now we're going to add our course. So of course we're going to register, we want to add. And then using the information we gathered from the schedule search tool, here we are going to enter that in. So the FSW CRN, the primary we wanted to use was 13873. The alternate that we found was 14286. The subject course and code was ENC 1101. The section number was 814. And this was an online course delivery. Again, there's different options. If you're taking it fully online, it will be online. If it's at all on campus, it will be Charlotte. And then the title is Composition 1. And so if you're taking multiple classes, you will repeat this process with the appropriate CRN, subject and course codes, section numbers, delivery, and course titles. If you're taking 4 or 5, you'll end up somewhere down here. That would include a lab if you're in here too. Any course that you're registering for that semester at FSW will be entered there. Additionally, now I would like to discuss, just touch on the adding and dropping. I'm not going to go backwards. However, if you are looking to drop a course that you had registered for, so say Joe came to me, he registered for composition last week, as an example, and now comes to me this week and says he no longer wants to take composition. You can't just ignore it. Otherwise, you are going to be penalized. So you will have to go through this process of the registration again, just this page, and you will enter this information above here. You'll do the same thing you did before, except this time you're going to drop. And if you're going to add a course instead of the course you are dropping, you will then add. So you can do both simultaneously, but again, for the sake of adding the course and just understanding the registration process, seeing what it looks like, this form does not change. And so here, back to our example, we are just registering for the one course. We got all of our information in here. We are going to make sure that the student signs, or that you sign. Joe Smith is going to sign this form as he is the student. You'll see a little red tab, Adobe tab down here. Make sure you read all of the information here. Remember, page 2 is the student contract. Essentially all that we went over before. There's some extra information on here, such as test scores and some specific courses. So you want to look through that. And then here we are. So now we are going to sign our document. We've completed it. We've signed everything that we needed to. Now we're going to finish it. Participant 2, which is what I alluded to in the PowerPoint, is me. You will always use me. And so the school counselor is the second person that receives this, the first person that receives this form after you, the student, sends it. So my name, you are going to enter my name, which is James Strauss. My email address pops up. Again, my email address is james.strauss@yourcharlotteschools.net. We will confirm that. Again, my email address is on the PowerPoint. You could add in a message if you like. Tell me how awesome I am. That's okay. And so now I will receive this DocuSign. Moments after you send this, you will hit next. And then now you are going to enter in your email address, your FSW email address. So for the sake of Joe Smith's email, I think it was a 5 at bucks.fsw.edu. Again, you're going to want to use your Bucks email address. I believe you could use a personal one, but again, whatever email you enter in will then be sent back with the confirmation information of whether or not you get into these classes or not. And so I'm not going to click to sign here because that would actually send. I don't want to send FSW any false information. So we're going to back out of this. And when I do receive, or when you, the student, receives your confirmation email of whether or not you got into courses or not, you are going to receive this document back. I usually will be signing this down here, and then FSW signs and adds comments in down here. When you receive this form back, if you are adding a course, over here will say either completed or other. It might say prerequisite error, etc. Down here then, where FSW completes, additional comments on registration might say prerequisite error or course conflicts with another, etc. So then what we would have to do is go back and fill out this form again to correct it. This can be a very tedious process, so it is very important that you pay attention and that you are exact with the courses that you are selecting. If you're dealing with one course, it's very easy. It just comes down to prerequisite situations or errors. However, one course is generally very easy. That's why it is also important to discuss with your school counselor ahead of time. Submit any AICE or AP transcripts so that you're avoiding taking a class twice. It's not beneficial to you at all. And so it is very important to, again, follow these steps that we discussed. So I'm going to take us back to our PowerPoint, and this is where I leave you. Again, my email address is right here, james.strauss@yourcharlotteschools.net. Feel free to email me anytime. You can call me. We can set up a meeting. I'm happy to help you guys in any way I can. But the one thing that I want to stress is that, again, students that are aspiring to dual enroll are entering the college world. And so with that comes a great level of responsibility, not only to just do well in the class, but to do the steps appropriate so that you can take those courses and obviously excel in those. So again, please reach out to me for any questions. I greatly appreciate all of your time, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much.